thank you for coming, all of you, and we're really pleased. We would have held this for 0 people and just gone straight to video, but we're really glad you're here. Glad you came out for an evening meeting. We know it's a sacrifice of your time. So I'm Andre Briere. I'm the Executive Director of Maine Turnpike Authority, and we're really thankful for the Jared Talbot School for hosting us this evening, and thanks also to the City of Portland. It's a great facility, and it's a good venue for what we're going to talk about, which is the Forest Ave Bridge, and what we're going to be doing with that over the next about 6 weeks to repair some things that really need repairing before the winter months. So we're looking forward to getting into that with you. So I'm actually in control of this, so I will do that. That's the welcome screen. So before we get into the substance, I just want to introduce the Turnpike team that's not just here tonight, but will also be available to you to answer any questions you may have through the process and some of the exciting things we think we're going to have on offer over the next year or so that we'll talk about in the substance of the presentation. So first, I want to introduce Christy Van Ooyen. She's our Deputy Chief Engineer. We have Aaron Sullivan, our Chief Administrative Officer. We also have our Chief Engineer back there, Steve Tart. So he's in attendance as well. We have Lauren Fleming, who's the Engineering Program Manager. She's right there. We've got Rebecca Grover, Director of Communications as of last week. So she's our new Director of Communications. All right, new in her position. We've got Sean Paulus, former state rep. He's our Government Relations Manager right over there. And we've got Soraya, I practiced this, Soraya Safarudin. Okay. She's wonderful. She's a brand new employee. She was an intern with us last summer, and she's right there. She's already an invaluable part of the team. So thank you, Soraya. You're sort of like Sting. I call you Soraya all the time. Don't make me say your last name. All right. So let's start with this, which is kind of a recent timeline of things we found out about the bridge just since May of this year. So end of May, maintenance contacts engineering, that's Turnpike Engineering, expressed concerns about some potholes and some general poor condition on the Forest Ave Bridge. And there's, as we were talking before the meeting, there's, it's an old bridge, right? And it's already part of the Turnpike's 4-year plan to completely replace. We'll talk about that a little more later. But in June, our general engineering consultant, so that's the engineers we have under contract, went out, did a formal bridge inspection and said, yeah, we have things about the bridge surface that need to be repaired before winter. So we developed an unscheduled repair project in July, mid-August. We did do some patching, and we'll show you some video that shows some of the pothole patching that we already did on the bridge. But in August, we opened bids, and we received them from 2 contractors. In September, the board awarded the contract to CPM Constructors. Last week, we met with the City of Portland and briefed them on everything we're doing. So they're fully informed, and we're here tonight. This is our community meeting. We have a lot we want to tell you about, and we certainly want to hear from you. Just by show of hands, how many folks that are in the audience, how many of you hear the Turnpike? Like you just hear it? Okay, good. We got some good news for you as we go through this. So the work's going to start, the scheduled repairs. It's mostly because the volume on the bridge is going to be night work. We'll talk about that. But we think it's all going to be wrapped up end of November before the Thanksgiving holiday, just to be done with that by then. All the unscheduled repair work, so the bridge will be good to go at least for the immediate future. When we say June is a project completion date, there's a lot that goes into project completion. There's punch lists, there's things with the contractor, but really the substantive work should be done by November, end of November. So this is, I think this was this the moving video? Okay. There we go. So you can already see kind of the black topped area there, the little black patches. Those are the patches that have been done very recently. So that's that real temporary repairs that were done. But we do need to do some more substantive repairs. So right here, for a few more engineering details, I'm going to hand it off to Christy, who's going to walk you through the substance of the repairs. Then I'll come back up, talk to you about the future a little bit.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. So this is an original construction photo of the Forest Ave Bridge from 1955. You can see the existing bridge piers as well as the abutments, and those houses that are in the foreground, I believe, are still there today. You probably recognize them. So this bridge was built in 1955, and then in 1998, it was widened on either side to accommodate wider shoulders. And since 1998, we've been repairing and keeping it in good working condition. And the future of this bridge is, as the director said, in a couple of years, we'll be out there to replace it. So this bridge is nearing the end of its service life. Forest Ave, the bridge over Forest Ave is in a very busy area of Portland, and the traffic volumes for each bridge are about 25,000 vehicles on average per day. So a very busy section. Each bridge carries 2 lanes of traffic. Forest Ave, as you all know, is also a very busy road. Comparatively, the 2 lanes that Forest Ave carries, 15,000 vehicles on average per day. It's very important that I point out that during the life of this project, during the construction, we are going to maintain both of those lanes of traffic during the day, as well as pedestrian access through the entire project. And to that point, we'll have 2 lanes, one in each direction from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m., so during the day when it's used the most. And then at night, to coincide with the night work on top, we will need to intermittently go down to 1 lane. This will be managed with flaggers to let traffic in opposing directions go. But throughout the entire project, we expect to maintain pedestrian access. We understand there's a lot of pedestrians that use this, and we want to be able to maintain that. Here's the work, if you're interested in what we'll be doing. The majority of it will be night work, and it will occur during the months of October and November. It will start by milling the existing paving off the deck. Then we have to get into those deteriorated areas in the bridge deck and repair those with sound concrete. Then we'll cover it back up with a new paving surface. We'll work on some joints on either end, and then finish up by reapplying the line striping. As I said, the majority of this work is expected to be done before Thanksgiving, and the minor work that the director was referencing might be some under-deck repairs that can be done during the day on Forest Ave while maintaining traffic on both the top of the bridge and below. And I included this, this is part of the plan set that the contractor was given, just so that you could get some ideas of scope. If you can see the cross-hatched boxes, these are the areas that we've identified that need to be repaired. Some are small, some are a little bit larger. Notice the larger ones are right over Forest Ave. This is why we need to be able to have the ability to close off a lane so that contractors can do that work during night. So, we're going to talk about noise. Unfortunately, this work that we're going to do is very noisy. This is a graphic that kind of shows what the human ear can hear, and it shows the different levels from rain, nice rainfall, to all the way to airplanes, and what the decibel levels are associated with that. The work happening on this bridge is going to be in that motorcycle range of about 90 decibels. By comparison, when we last did a noise study in this area, it was 2010, and what we measured the average traffic noise to be is in more of the blow dryer area. So it's going to be noisier than what you would see general traffic being, as you would expect. We're going to have milling machines out there grinding up the pavement. We're going to have jackhammers out there chipping out concrete. So for those 2 months, it will be pretty noisy at night. Now, going to our next project, we think this is also an excellent time for us to reevaluate the study that we did in 2010 and look forward and say, okay, here we are now 15 years later. what has the noise done in that period of time. So we would like the opportunity to study it again after this project is completed. So to do that, we put out these devices, and these are just sample ones. They come in all different forms. I'll show you another video. And what these, we pick a couple of select locations. We put out these recording devices, and we put out some for 30 minutes and for as long as 24 hours. And what they're doing is they're measuring the noise level in that area. We only need to do this in a couple of locations because we can take this data then and create a model, a noise model, and then we can evaluate how the noise is affecting other neighborhoods. And also, we can use that model to evaluate any noise mitigation methods that we might want to use, the impacts of those. So this is something that we'd like to be able to do in January or February of this coming year. And this video, I'm going to hit play in a second, but I want to explain the context. Unfortunately, we don't have sound here, but this is another type of recording device that is put in someone's backyard. And if you were able to hear it, you would hear it, you could hear the leaves rustling. It's a pretty nice, quiet, peaceful backyard, maybe some birds chirping. And at that noise level, it registers 46.5. So that's on the rainfall, on that noise sketch that I showed you, that's on the rainfall end of noises. And then, as I play the video, you're going to see a green bar above the 46.5, and you're going to see the numbers jump up. So you can see the greens flashing down below, and maybe you won't be able to see it. I kind of hope you can. Or I guess it's a white bar. Someone's going to start clapping. And when they clap, you see the readings go from 41 to 57, and 50, and 55, and 56. So this is the kind of stuff that we want to be able to capture when we do a noise study. We want to be able to put some of these devices out. They're going to register any particular instantaneous noise, as well as the average noise for the time period that it's out. So with that, I'm going to turn it back to the director, who's going to give you a little bit more details about this study.
And please don't worry, we're going to have plenty of time for questions. I do want to contextualize a couple things, and thank you, Christy, that was great. And we don't want to assume too much. We're in the highway business. You're not, mostly, I don't think. So the type of night work that we're talking about, is it going to be incessant jackhammering all night long? No, it's not going to be, right? It's not, hopefully, knock on wood, it's not going to bother you too much. And when you're talking about decibels, there's really, if you think about rings around a work site, if you are right on top of this bridge, that's where you're going to get the 90 decibels. As you get further away, those decibels go down, right? Just like any noise you can imagine. It just gets quieter as you get further away from the noise. So if your home is not like right there at the bridge, there are homes that are there. Does anybody live right at the bridge? A couple of you. You know, like Christy said, it could be, if you run fans at night, that'll probably cover a lot of it, or white noise machine, something like that. It will be loudest right by the bridge, but again, we're talking the 90 decibel range. That is, you know, if you're right on a highway, that's about what you're talking about. It's just a little higher than that if you're right on the highway. As you get further away, it's obviously going to get quieter. But I want to talk about the neighborhoods around this area more generally really quickly. And I'll advance the slide. So when I first took this job, I've been in this job since about April. I was like heavily involved with noise walls and sound studies in my previous work. I was the Deputy Commissioner in New Hampshire DOT. So I'm very familiar with sound walls and with noise mitigation technology. For those of you that have gone on I-95 down through New Hampshire, you see the concrete sound walls that are going up down there. I was involved with that and had evening meetings with those neighborhoods just like this one. So when I first looked at this corridor, when I came on board, I immediately, and I'm not going to claim to be a genius here, my team also knew, this neighborhood and the sound studies that were done in 2010 could already qualify for some kind of noise mitigation. What we'd like to do, what we're doing here, and this is kind of how this goes, we've got to look at you have to combine sound studies with an existing project. It's really federal highway standards. So when we're already going to be doing work, it's very hard to do sound countermeasures when there's no other project going on in an area. But when there is a project planned for an area, like we said, there's a planned bridge replacement a few years from now. It's a perfect time to look at the impact of the noise we make just every day by being close to you on your neighborhood. That's what we plan on doing. So those devices that Christy showed you, so the red dots are ones that we want to set up for 24-hour listens, the yellow ones for about 30 minutes. And this is literally one day that we're going to collect this noise. What we can do with that data is we can extrapolate from it, analyze how different things are going to impact these neighborhoods and these properties. Is there anybody, and I know it's probably hard to tell here, we do have a list of addresses. We've proposed these sites. It doesn't mean it has to go on these sites. If you own one of these homes and you just don't want it there, we'll find an alternative. But if you are in one of these homes and you don't mind us setting up just this little microphone for either 30 minutes or 24 hours, we'd love to have your cooperation, because this is just going to help us really understand what the noise is doing to your property itself. So if you are one of these homes or you want a list of addresses, I think we have the list of addresses here, right? Not tonight. Okay, we'll get it to you. And we'll also go door to door. If you're one of these homes, we'll come and ask as well. But that's the idea, is we really want to get this data January, February, right after this work is done, so that when we do the work we're going to have to do in the next couple of years, we can deploy what we call acoustic mitigation. So that can range. There's a lot of things you can do for sound. And really, it's going to be a conversation with your neighborhood. When we get this data back, if the data reach a certain level, which I'm guessing it will, where we say, okay, it qualifies for noise mitigation, what do you want, right? We want to have a conversation with the community. What does the community want to see? Because it doesn't have to be a 11-foot concrete sound wall. It can be, if that's what you'd like. It could also be something maybe a little more aesthetically attractive. You can build a concrete base and have either plastic base, looks like wood, type of wood barrier. It looks like wood, but it's actually plastic. You can have actual wood barrier. You could have berming and plantings. There's a whole range of things we can do that will deflect the noise to various levels. And we'll have a separate public process around that once we've got the data. But we're open. We're not coming in with a approved solution. The community members, like you care enough to be out on a Wednesday night. As many community members that want to participate in that process, we're happy to have you and weigh in on what you want to see. It could be that you want to have those 11-foot sound walls. I lived, just as a personal aside, I lived in a neighborhood in Chicago. It's a pretty high-end neighborhood, but we had the freeway right there. So we had, I think it was around a 17, 18-foot concrete sound wall. Extremely effective. My house wasn't right on it, but I exercised. There was a running trail right by the wall. Couldn't even hear the highway. Sometimes it would kind of sound like the ocean. Like you get this general kind of shh. But that concrete it stops sound. It does. And it deflects it. So these are the conversations we can have, which I think, and probably with very good reason, will positively affect your neighborhood. It has a positive effect on property values, has a positive effect on just quality of life when you don't hear the turnpike all the time. So this is something that we think, and again, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but if the data supports it, we'll have a separate conversation with you all about that. The exciting thing is we're actually going to collect the data, and we do plan on making that part of the future project. When really is also a conversation with the neighborhood. Does that, and there are options here. Can that happen in conjunction with that construction, ahead of that construction? Maybe. But it'll depend on the data, and we'll, like I said, we're going to collect that data. So, and this isn't just for people in this room. This is also looking there for folks that are going to watch this later in the recording. All these slides are going to be part of the recording, so you or anybody else can go online and watch this same presentation tonight. We welcome your questions, not just now, but anytime during, after the project, but most of your questions will probably be during the project. If you're anything like me, I live in Back Cove. My street right now it's been torn up for 2 months, and we're living with a 6:30 a.m. start of construction. I had a 14-foot hole in front of my house this morning that I had to trudge around. So we all deal with construction. Hopefully this isn't that impactful for your neighborhood. But at any time during the construction, the email's there. A lot of you have already got the handouts. If you haven't already, we'll have extra copies up there if your neighbors need them. But during that project, at any time, that number's available to you. That's a direct line to our comms department. You don't have to go through some wacky phone tree for that. You'll get somebody answering if you call during business hours. But that email, anytime, just email us questions as we go through it, and we'll answer those questions.